franchise to franchise or from platform to platform. Now, I wanted to talk about the last part of our presentation, talk a little bit about the latest piece of innovation, the newest addition to the PlayStation family, PSP, and provide an update there. We believe that the timing could not be better for the launch of a dedicated gaming-based portable entertainment system. We think there are around 1.5 billion portable devices in the world right now. Consumers are showing an insatiable demand in this space. What does that mean? That means that potentially the PSP trajectory for sales could be even greater than it was for PS2, which, as you can see, already dwarfed a lot of the other platforms out there. What do we mean when we talk about a 21st century portable entertainment system? Well, PlayStation means that we'll offer the best gaming entertainment experience in the portable space, period. Innovative product designs on the hardware front, cutting-edge technology, and a brand that already has huge global reach. And we can make some promises as well, that PSP will have hardware cachet. It is a Sony. And it'll have the best content, and first and foremost, it will make a new technology leap in being wireless and mobile. So that means that PSP as a platform really is a brand new format, and it is as revolutionary, if not more, as PS2. It's the first dedicated all-in portable entertainment device. It is multifunction versus standalone, and it offers wireless connectivity. That means that for those of us developing games, it's a totally new play experience. It has new technology like curved surfaces. That's going to mean a new title design methodology. It means that we can reach out to new consumers, but that also brings new challenges. But we think those challenges are worth it. There's a huge, broad market space out there to be tapped. First off with games, then from interconnectivity, eventually from music, whether it be packaged media or download, video in the same two formats, and even productivity applications. A lot of this will be founded on a core Sony hardware technology, and that's optical media. We plan to bring the same business innovation to the portable arena that we did with the original PlayStation. Larger capacity disc, media that can be flexible and across all forms of entertainment publishing, and all of the advantages that that brings. Lower manufacturing costs versus what's out there right now, as well as better inventory risk management, and so on. 3D CG gaming will really make another leap. The fact that we'll support major audio and video formats mean that this will be an instantly appealing mass consumer device. 16:9 widescreen should not be underestimated in its ability to change the portable gaming experience, and certainly wireless should not either. All of which will lead us eventually to a connected or even an interconnected future. We're already taking the first step with PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 2 connectivity, and I'm sure we'll see many innovative applications that take advantage of PlayStation 2 to PSP, as well as wirelessly between PSP to PSP, and even from PC to PSP downloads in the future. Where do we stand right now? PSP libraries and sample code are already in folks' hands. And we're happy this week to announce 7 major partners on the tool and middleware front that are helping us to build in this space. But enough listening to me talk about the device. Let's hear what folks in your community have been telling us about how they feel about PSP. Can we roll video, please?
Where do I find inspiration?
I find inspiration all over the place.
Jim Henson movies like The Dark Crystal really inspired me.
Stanley Kubrick,
Monet and Renoir.
Cartoons like Transformers and Robotech.
Ansel Adams.
It's working with really smart and creative people.
Shigeru Miyamoto, because the guy invented Mario.
The evolution of technology inspires me. I look at how something was yesterday difficult or impossible to do, and how now that technology enables an entirely new experience that could never have been done before.
For a long time, portable gaming was thought of as a kid's toy. But the future is really about portable gaming for everyone.
The PSP is going to totally change the way people look at handheld gaming. It's so far beyond what's currently out there now.
I would say it's groundbreaking in the sense that it's pushing the art capabilities of portable gaming.
Is a device which could turn into the Walkman of the 21st century.
Really, especially with the PSP being as powerful as it is, that people are going to be able to do things that
we were just dreaming about 5 years ago.
The PSP is about multiplayer, multiplayer, multiplayer.
Now we can take a mobile online device with us, and we can match up to people and literally point it right at them and say, "You ready?"
The more we see of its capabilities, we really realize it's really a sophisticated, mature piece of hardware.
This is finally a handheld that has a bit of power, has a bit of RAM.
It is the first time to get real full-featured 3D. It's a lot of processing power.
And it's pretty staggering to realize that this game machine as a handheld truly is going to be comparable to the PS2 in throughput.
It's 16 by 9. It's got, a really powerful graphics engine in it.
The biggest surprise that I saw in the PSP spec was the support for curved surfaces. To see that kind of power on a handheld device was a little bit of a shock to me.
The most exciting aspects of the PSP to me are the powerful technology in such a small package, the wireless multiplayer functions that are really going to be kind of game expanding, and the graphics in the 16 by 9 format, which are truly stunning.
We're going to be able to do, really bring PS2 quality games to the portable market, and that's something that's just been unheard of.
If you've got a closed network with a bunch of guys around you, you can scream at each other right there when you play, and that's pretty exciting.
You got this really beefy piece of hardware. Really awesome 3D graphics, wireless networking, video and audio capabilities. It's really amazing to think that it's pretty much a PlayStation 2 in the palm of your hands, and that's really exciting.
On a personal note, a quick note of thanks there to everyone who was able to be part of that video. So, in terms of developer support, the emulator was put into people's hands in fall of 2003, and there are multiple companies worldwide that are already very hard at work on coding for PSP. We'll be looking to supply hardware tools this spring, and documentation for those tools will be released immediately post GDC. But today, it's the final part of the presentation. I wanted to spend a little bit of time letting people who are actually hands-on working with PSP talk about their experiences and show what they have going on. So with that, could you please welcome from Backbone Entertainment, Chris Chawla and Mike Micah.
Hey everybody, thanks a lot, Andy. Thanks for having us up here. So we want to talk a little bit about our experience so far on PSP, hopefully dispel a couple of myths, and then go into what really excites us about the platform. So some quick background info about us. Backbone itself is about a year old. We're the result of a merger between Digital Eclipse and Imagine Engine. Since 1998, we've shipped a combined total of more than 60 games for handheld systems, mostly 2D games on Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. At the same time, we've been developing a proprietary cross-platform 3D engine for current and next-generation consoles since about last year. So PSP, when we first heard about it, was obviously something we were really excited about. So we took a lot of time and synthesized a lot of the publicly available information about PSP and put together a series of white papers. So when we got the emulator, we were really ready to just hit the ground running. So from our experience working on the system so far, we've learned a ton. The most important thing to realize is that polygon for polygon, PSP actually has more power than PS2. So the notion that PSP is going to be for PS1 ports or GBA-style games is just crazy. I mean, this is a really powerful machine. That said, you're not going to be able to port straight from PS2 and call it a day. You can, technically. We've done it with our in-development PS2 project right now. But there are a lot of handheld-specific issues that, as a designer and as a developer, you really need to pay attention to. Things involving screen size and, of course, controller issues. For our first PSP project, we went through and tried something like, I think, 40 controller configurations before we found something that really worked. So there's some work there, but it's just very powerful. So maybe even better, though, honestly, when you think about it, than the raw power of the system is how easy it is to develop for. It really recalls, honestly, GameCube in that aspect. The length of time between having a cool idea and seeing it on screen is just really fast. And the more we look at it, the more, you just find little juice in there, and you can just find little tricks and features that just kind of show off, the system. It's just, bottom line, it's just a really fun machine to develop for. We're having fun with it. Finally, and this is pretty exciting for us, I think the myth that handheld games have to be based on licenses is going to be shattered by PSP. On a limited platform like GBA, you really have to stick to very established and somewhat dated genres. Therefore, to stand out, you really need to have a license to back you up. You're not going to be able to stand out on gameplay alone because the same games have been done 100 times before in the system. On PSP, you don't need to stick to the old genres. Games are going to be able to stand out for their quality and innovation. So, bottom line, we finally have the ability to bring the modern 3D console experience to mobile gaming. And what's awesome as a developer is how PSP just totally nails these key aspects that are crucial for us to make great, innovative games. The first is the Wi-Fi connectivity. Some people are calling it, LAN in the hand. We've been referring to it internally as proximity gaming. And it's important to realize this doesn't just mean multiplayer gaming, although of course that's a key portion, but wireless play styles that we're really only just starting to see conceived. If you think about a handheld that can just be constantly aware if any other handhelds come near it, and you start to get a lot of ideas about some cool things. So I think we're going to see some awesome stuff in that area. Second is the widescreen. This may seem like a gimmick, oh cool, it's widescreen, but its importance really can't be overstated. The 16:9 aspect ratio enhances your in-game peripheral vision and really enables you to have the same kind of situational awareness on a handheld screen that you normally have on a much higher resolution monitor like a TV or PC screen. And third is just the sheer hardware power of the system. There's a huge number of effects that you'd have to implement in software on PS2 that are just given to you on PSP. Everything from skinning to morphing to spline patches, and even the dynamic lighting effects that are available at the hardware level. It again just goes back to making the thing just fun to develop for. And that plays right into the ease of development. With an OpenGL-like graphics API and a robust compiler, exploiting the power there is just really straightforward. We're fortunate enough to have a really robust engine architecture internally, but even so, we were surprised at just how quick and easy it was and how fast it was to bring over 3 different projects from wildly different platforms over to PSP. I think we had our first project on PSP up and running inside of 2 man weeks, and inside 4 man weeks we had our in-development PS2 title fully compiling, running, and playable on PSP. So that's all awesome, but what's really great about PSP is that once you get into it, you realize that Sony has hit this freaking amazing cost-performance ratio with the system. In the past we've seen new systems with greater power, but it's always at the price of higher development costs. Honestly, the opposite is happening with PSP. The power and ease of development puts us as developers in just this incredible sweet spot because we're going to be able to deliver true console experiences without high-end console development expenses. We're in full production now, and based on our experiences so far, we anticipate average project staffing post-launch at something around 3 to 4 engineers and 6 to 10 artists. So that awesome price-performance ratio and the boost we get from enabling PSP-specific features is one of the main reasons we decided to bring Death Jr., our original IP, exclusively to PSP. So now I'd like to show you some brief clips of an early build of Death Jr. Taken straight from the PSP development environment to show off a couple of these hardware features.
Thanks, Chris. So the first thing we're going to demonstrate is hardware lights. Hardware light, does it move in here yet? Okay.
There we go.
Come on.
Let's go.
Okay. Hardware light has always been a luxury on consoles and PCs, which is good because on handheld screens before it would have looked like crap. What this screen now guarantees is a consistent color space. We can really use the light the way it is meant to be used. Using the environment from our game, we can now demonstrate the ease at which it takes to throw in 4 hardware lights and just tweak the variables. Okay, next up is spline patches. This is also a hardware freebie of the PSP. In this demo, you can see that we can move back and forth between polygonal and spline effects. You definitely can see the polygon trails are much more polygonal. Currently, we're using this feature heavily in our special effects. Finally, we have hardware morphing. We're most excited about this feature. What you're looking at is a debug camera of flowers being influenced by our main character. They're low poly for a reason because we intend to have hundreds of these on screen at any given time. All right, enough of the tech demos. Here's what it all looks like in action on PSP.
Cool, thanks a lot. Thanks, Mike. So if you guys want to see more on Death Jr., I'll actually be giving a talk about it later this afternoon. So thanks very much. And before I pass things back to Andy, I just want to say we're hiring. Stop by our job booth and drop off your resume. Thanks again.
Thanks very much, guys. As Chris said, you can see those guys talking more about the project at the Marriott this afternoon. So PSP release schedule, as many of you will have heard, product launch plans are for calendar year 2004 in Japan, but fiscal year end, i.e. by the end of March in both North America and in Europe, with the Korean market to follow after that. You can hear more about PSP and how to build better games for the system from Dave Coombs and Peter Young at the Convention Center later this afternoon. Finally then, to close out, I wanted to just spend a couple of minutes talking about the future. As everybody's aware, we have the Cell project in the works. It's a trilateral project between Sony Computer Entertainment, IBM, and Toshiba. It has a huge capital investment already in place and with more on the way. But the key takeaway I really wanted, the key point to emphasize for me today is that competitive movement will not be a factor in determining our launch release plans. It's the consumer experience that's paramount, and we obviously recognize that we need all of your support to make this happen. In closing, thank you all very much for your continued support of our formats, and thanks very much again for coming out today. Thank you.